On this episode of The Essential, we're going to talk about the end of third-party cookies. By the end of 2022, Chrome will join other browsers such as Safari, Brave, Firefox in disallowing any third-party cookies to exist. So essentially, when that happens by the end of 2022, that means the death of the third-party cookie because Chrome has the largest market share out of all of those browsers. So in combination, there won't really be a use case for third-party cookies anymore. The reason this is happening is because it's just a continuation of the ongoing consumer privacy conversation. So we heard about this with regulations such as GDPR, CCPA. When the Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal broke, consumers just really became more aware of how ad targeting and algorithms work, and there's been a push for personal privacy when it comes to your online behavior data. So while the end of the third-party cookie is ultimately good for a consumer, it does require a fundamental reworking of how we do digital marketing today. So the internet remains free and open because of advertising. If we can't find a solution that allows effective advertising, then the internet has to change. So it's obviously in everyone's best interest to come up with a new solution for how to replace the third-party cookie. So lots of platforms are entering this. A lot of communities have proposals out under this header. But there's one that's really coming to the forefront of the conversation, and it is a Google Chrome initiated proposal under their Privacy Sandbox header, and it's called FLoC, F-L-O-C. That stands for the Federated Learning of Cohorts. So the difference between FLoC and third-party cookies is that with FLoC, none of your personal behavior, so none of your browsing behavior, etc., will ever leave your own browser again. And then what happens in the back end is that your browsing behavior will be matched with other browsers' behaviors that have acted similarly. And so advertisers will be able to advertise to these cohorts. So the federated learning on your own device, on your own browser of cohorts. So you will be grouped, your browser's behavior will be grouped with others. We will get to a point soon where closed testing will happen. And when that closed testing will happen, we'll start to understand how these solutions work. So FLoC and even some others that are being proposed. And so once we know how those things are going to work through the testing, there will hopefully come a single winner out of that we can all rally around and start to prepare for and use in the future. But until we get to that point, there are some things that advertisers really need to be thinking about right now today. So the first thing that's absolutely imperative to prepare for this new world is to get your first-party data in order. So first-party data, meaning anything that has been authenticated by you about a user, is going to be the gold mine that you will still be able to use in the future. You will be able to seed these FLoCs and to inform the targeting. To what level, we'll see when we have the opportunity to test this, but you will be able to use your own first-party data to inform targeting in the future. So if your CRM data isn't in a usable shape now, if you don't know anything about the people who come to your site and authenticate, now is absolutely the time to get that ready. The second thing to do is to make sure that your data and marketing stacks are where you need them to be. So with the first party world being the thing that we need to focus on for the future, if you don't have your CRM set up appropriately, if you're not using a DMP or a CDP, if you're not having your measurement platforms tied to all your different sources of media, now is the time to remediate that. And then the last thing, the third thing I would recommend to start today is to start using some of the automating targeting that is available today on the platforms. So based on what we know today of FLoC and similar kind of solutions, we do think that it's going to act quite a bit like things like affinity and in-market targeting. We also recommend buying new and different media types because we want to get more users to our site and authenticate those users. Because if we have an authentication happening on our site, it becomes first-party data and we're all the more prepared for the future without third-party cookies. So while the end of the third-party cookie is quite probably the biggest thing that has happened in digital marketing since it has existed, there isn't a need to panic, but there is a need to get prepared. So again, first things first, get your own first-party data house in order. Clean up your CRM, know who's in there, and know what those people mean to you. Number 2, get your data and tech stacks in order, your marketing platforms, your on-site customization platforms. Make sure you have the tools and technology that you need to prepare for this. And lastly, start testing into different targeting mechanisms that are available today to see how they perform. Start buying from new and different media types to get different types of users to your site and authenticate them. And if you do all of these things and you stay in touch with what the industry is publishing about this, you'll be in an excellent position to prepare for the end of third-party cookies in 2022.